All right. Hello, everyone. I see that folks are joining us slowly, so I'll give it a second to load. For our other panelists, are folks popping up slowly on your side, or am I having computer issues? Okay. There we go. All right. Welcome, everyone. It is our last transfer talk of the summer, so we hope these have been helpful for you. This was a session that we did not run last year, but we realized we give you all these different resources around campus, and then us as the transfer hub didn't tell you about what services that we provide. So this year, we're excited to talk about all that the transfer hub offers just for you all and how we can continue supporting you from now through your graduation with our different programs and events. I'll go ahead and just start with our typical step presentation so that you are all aware of what events are coming up for us as well. And my screen's having some issues here. But welcome to STEP. If this is your first session with us or you've been joining us for the whole summer, we're so excited to have you. All of our recordings are available, and this recording will be available as well on our STEP recaps page. So we'll share that with you the same email where you received this invitation within 24 hours. We are wrapping up on our STEP program. There's really not much left. So tomorrow, Elizabeth is going to be hosting her final research and involvement series session on how to outreach to faculty for research opportunities. That is a great session and just learning how to contact folks in general and send really good professional emails. We are going to have our last 2 iterations of Transfers Connect next week. So if you are someone who's local in San Diego and would like to join us in person, September 4th, next Wednesday, we will host mentor mapping, talking about how to get support on campus, how to build out your mentorship, and how to meet more folks. That will be in the Dolores Huerta room. And if you RSVP'd for that, you'll get walking directions and parking instructions and a parking code. And next Friday, we will have our very last STEP session with the exception of Welcome Day. And that will be our virtual mentor mapping. So we're looking forward to seeing you all there. Our topic for today is going to be Meet the Transfer Hub, and then we'll have a longer open time for Q&A so that you can get to know, get your last minute questions answered by some of our peer coaches. And with that, I'll go ahead and hop into our main presentation for today, which is so many slides ahead of where I want to start this. So let me go ahead and go back here. Before we get started on our presentation, I want to take a pause and just introduce the folks who are going to be presenting. So I'll start off, I guess I haven't given an intro much of the summer, so I'll go ahead and introduce myself first. My name is Tessa. I'm our program coordinator in the Triton Transfer Hub. I run our large scale programs and events and supervise our peer coaches, and I'll pass to Elizabeth to introduce herself as well.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Elizabeth. I'll talk a little bit about my role later, but I am the Research and Involvement Coordinator at the Triton Transfer Hub, and I'm other full-time staff at the Transfer Hub. So I will pass it on to Mariana.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mariana, pronouns she, her, ella, and I'm the Graduate Assistant for the Triton Transfer Hub, and I am also a UCSD alum, and I'll pass it off to Cameron.
Oops, hello. My name is Cameron. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm a human developmental sciences major in Revelle College, and I'll pass it to Kai.
Hi, I'm Kai. I'm a transfer peer coach as well. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a developmental psychology major, and I'm from Marshall College. And I'll pass it on to Simon.
Hi, everyone. My name is Simon. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm also one of our transfer peer coaches. I'm studying political science, and I'm in Warren College. And with that, I'll pass back to Tessa.
Wow, I'm really messing up our last time. We've done so well all summer. I got to make up for it now. But I'll go ahead and go through our presentation, talk about the Triton Transfer Hub, how we were founded, and how we can support you this year. So a little bit about what to expect. we'll talk about 5 of our main topics, who we are, where you can go to get support both virtually and in person. What do we offer and when do those programs and events happen? And then finally, who can you meet with to get support during your time here? So who is the Transfer Hub here to serve? We are here just for transfer students at UCSD. We provide services for students who are prospective and want to know what the college systems are like, separate from admissions, more on in terms of the transfer experience side. And then we provide different support throughout your entire time at UCSD. A fun fact that many folks don't know is that transfer students make up about 33% of UCSD's undergraduate population. So there are just under 9,000 transfer students who make up UCSD's population. So we are here to provide support on any and all things transfer. What is the Hub? So we'll go ahead and just start with our mission statement. Kai will take a moment to read that for us.
So our mission is that Transfer Student Success provides resources, services, and programs to empower Triton transfers to achieve their goals as they navigate UC San Diego's academic and cultural landscape. We assist students in their transition through active engagement and opportunities that support their path and build community so they thrive academically, professionally, and personally. We support the campus community to share knowledge and implement proven, promising practices to support transfer student experiences.
Thank you, Kai. So one thing to note is that we're not here just for your academic success. We want to make sure that we're helping you as a whole student. So whether that's your professional development, getting involved, making friends, building community, we want to support you through all of that. So I think it's important to note how the Transfer Hub came to be because we're not very old. In 2018, a bunch of UCSD transfer students came together and advocated and asked for a space to be able to be in community with other transfer students and to get additional support offered for transfer students. So our whole space was born out of students wanting additional support, which I think is really cool. We were made for the students, and it began with just one program manager and 4 peer coaches in a very small space in the biomedical library. And this is how it began. It was a lot of student-led programs for our transfer students on campus. Keep in mind that that was 5 people who were supporting our massive 33% of campus. So in the last 4 years, between 2019 and 2020, the office has grown massively. We physically moved to Pepper Canyon Hall, which is in Central Campus. And this is actually a temporary holding space for us. So we'll talk a little bit more about our space, but it's much larger. It gives folks a chance to hang out around other transfer students, which the biomedical library didn't really offer. And now we are going to have a 4-person professional staff. We've had 2 grad students. At the moment, we have our 1 wonderful grad student. And this year we will have 13 peer coaches. So quite a large number compared to where we had started. In 2026, we're going to move into the Triton Center. So if you're someone who's been on campus recently, or you'll soon be on campus, there is a big hall that has some big structures that are being built. And we are going to be 3 floors of the new center and move into there sometime during 2026. So the campus is acknowledging that there are so many transfer students and this want for community, and we are building to make it happen. So I think that's pretty cool. So how to get connected with the Transfer Hub. There's a lot of support that we can offer both virtually and in person. We are very active on both Instagram and TikTok. Our handle on each of these is Triton Transfers. So if you want to give us a follow, that will keep you in the loop about events. When there's something that we are tending to get a lot of questions on, we'll post information there, and we try to stay as current as we can on those sites. We also recommend that you check your UCSD email. This is good practice just for everything, but every transfer student at UCSD will receive the Triton Transfers newsletter. And we're really intentional about what we're sending, is that it's transfer specific, if it's jobs, if it's research opportunities, what's opening and what's closing. And we don't like to post everything and throw too much at you, but we make sure that we're getting you what's up to date and what we think is really important to keep transfers aware of. You'll also get a weekly email from a transfer peer coach, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We have a website that's up now, so transferstudents.ucsd.edu. This is transfer support of all kinds. So we have a very developed research and involvement page. We also have where you can sign up for meetings with peer coaches, and just a lot of resources or links to other areas. So this is a great place to check out. We also have a newly admitted student page that's on there. So when in doubt, that's a great place to take a first look. And if you have any questions beyond that, we monitor our inbox during normal business hours on normal days. So if you email tritontransfers@ucsd.edu, that will send to our entire office. And if it's a question for one of our pro staff, we'll route it that way, or else one of our student staff will get back to you typically the next day. All right, so I mentioned our physical space. There'll be a video going on the right-hand screen you'll see there, but this is our living room area. So one of the highlights of that is that we have free printing. So a lot of areas on campus do not offer printing for free. It can be pretty expensive, but we offer 10 pages per week. We also have testing materials. So if you're someone who needs blue books or Scantrons, a lot of folks will swing by our office the morning of a midterm. And if they have to print out a cheat sheet and get a blue book, you can come into our space for that. We also have a couple chairs just to keep it cozy in our office space. So this area is decorated with our storytellers art, which we'll talk about soon, but gives you a chance to just be in the space, but be a little bit more removed from the noise. We have 2 reservable study rooms. So if you are going to be doing group work this year, or you just want a space to be, we have a quiet study room, which will seat from 1 to 5 people. And these both can be reserved for up to 2 hours at a time. And we also have a large conference room, which will seat 3 to 12 people. So if you have a large scale group project, or maybe you're in a club, the only thing that we mention for these is that they have to in some way benefit transfer students if it's going to be a club or a larger event. And then finally, we have a kitchenette. If any of you are commuter students, or you're someone who's going to be walking from one of the further apartments and you want to just keep your lunch in here and come back throughout the day, we have the space for you to be able to do that, and a microwave as well. So feel free to drop by. We do clean our fridge out every Friday. So if you're someone who's leaving it here, we do throw things away on Fridays. All right, so what are some of the events and some of the programs that we offer as a space to support our transfer students at UCSD? We're going to just kind of go in chronologic order. So the first thing that you can expect is going to be the Transfer All College Welcome. This is going to be the first day of classes from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Hump, which is outside of the main gym. This is usually a chance for folks to get to meet all transfers from all the different colleges. This is separate from our STEP Welcome Day, which will be more internal to our STEP students, which you'll be invited to as well the day prior. We'll have an ice cream, have some sweet treats, and just a chance for you to get to know some of the leaders within the colleges, as well as your fellow transfer students. Also, always some week in October, we have National Transfer Student Week. So this year it's going to be the week of October 21st. And our big cornerstone event for that is the National Transfer Student Week Resource Fair. We'll have tables of academic departments and other support that you'll be able to ask your questions, see what options are out there for getting involved as a transfer, and have some music. We usually do some giveaways, and it's just usually around the time where you've gotten settled onto campus and are ready to start learning about what can be added in for you as you go. Our winter event, and more of a scholarship, is our Storytellers Gallery and Scholarship. So each year we open up the Storytellers competition, and students can submit an art piece of any media. We've had students who've submitted code that they put in, and it creates a visual on the computer. We've also had students do poetry or paintings or structure. And we always have UCSD faculty and staff serve as judges for this. And the winners receive a $1,000 scholarship. This year, we received a $35,000 grant from UC San Diego to do this in collaboration with our first gen department. And we'll be able to offer additional, scholarships this year, and also have another gallery event to show off when we hang our new pieces in the space. The theme of this is always resilience. So if you're somebody who is excited about getting started on this sooner rather than later, please know that will be the theme. We also asked to do a one-page write-up to see how your art piece will connect you to, or is connected to the theme of resilience. And those are just fun. If you're in our physical space, we encourage you to read those. Also under our events tab, you can see submissions from this year. And then our final event that we throw each year is the event tags Have a Great Summer. So this is typically we do ice cream and some kind of a lunch and just have a big celebration. And we usually see about 300 to 400 transfer students just celebrating the hard work they've done. There's bingo for some large scale prizes. We give picnic blankets away. And it's just a great way at the end of the year to just say, you know, we've worked hard. It's time to celebrate and be in community with others. I would say it's probably my favorite event that we throw. So we're excited to see you all at that at the very end of this academic year. So those are some of our events, but we'll talk about our program, or sorry. Here is a breakdown of the events that we just talked about. So you can see kind of when to expect them throughout the year. Week 0, which I'll touch on really quickly because that's something that usually tricks people a little bit. But week 0 is going to be our all college transfer welcome. All of you who are moving in or who are local and see that classes start, that week 0 starts on September 26th. That's going to be a whole week of welcome. Other campuses will call it weeks of welcome, but this is a time for you to see a lot of clubs tabling, to learn a lot about different resources on campus, but it isn't necessarily when classes start. So classes start on Thursdays. This is always something that confuses new transfers and new first-year students. They'll show up for class that Monday, but those first 3 days are really just welcoming you to the campus. And a lot of places are throwing events or barbecues or things around campus. So those first 3 days, just expect it to be a warm welcome, followed by classes starting that Thursday, which is September 26th, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. National Transfer Student Week will float around in October. This year it will be October 21st. And then we have storytellers and tags. All right, so we do offer a variety of programs throughout the year. You're in one of them right now to help support transfers throughout their time at UCSD. And I'll go ahead and pass to Simon.
Awesome. So the first one on here is one that you all clearly are already aware of, is our STEP program. There we go. Again, the main thing that we want to point out here, whether this is your first STEP session or you've been in regular webinars with us all year, is that our STEP recaps page is available year round. So if there's something that maybe you're like, gosh, I want to remember what we talked about for parking, our session from last week with transportation will live on our website under that new admits page throughout this year. So even though the STEP program only takes place live over the summer, it's something that you're always welcome to go back on throughout the year, revisit those research and involvement in Transfer Talk series. So just a really quick one. Again, this is something that we do throughout the summer, but is available to you all throughout the year.
We'll have Mariana share about our new updated Transfer Pods program.
Yeah, so Transfer Pods stands for well, it's a long title. Transfers First Professional Opportunities and Development Support, PODS for short. So it is a collaboration between our Office of Try and Transfer Hub and Try and First for our first generation transfer students. If you followed us or knew what was going on in our office, you might have seen Transfer Promise. But we just decided to change the name to Pods. And then our new logo will be coming soon. So what this is it's a professional development program for our first generation transfer students where they get they complete some sort of sessions, events pertaining to academic research involvement, career development or adulting events. So we'll have thematic quarters where you can attend, I believe it's at least 3 events per quarter. And then in order to meet, when you meet those requirements, you're able to receive those professional development funds. And what you can use those funds for could be conference attendances, any professional associations, any preparation for grad school, or any exam like the LSAT, the MCAT, or things like that. But more information to come soon.
And then we'll pass to Elizabeth to talk a little bit more about our career launch program.
Yeah. So the Career Launch Program, the Triton Transfer Hub first piloted this program in our office this past spring quarter. So it was in April, May of this year. So what it is that the Triton Transfer Hub collaborates with the Career Launch Program, and we create a 4-week program for transfer students. And within this program, you have access to modules. We also meet weekly for that 4-week time period, and we have activities for you to practice and learn how to explore career fields, how to create relationships with professionals, how to network, do effective job and internship searches, and just in general, improve your self-confidence in your career preparation. So we had a cohort of about 18 students join us for our first pilot. Yeah, and we did require an application. So if you're interested in career launch, more information about the application will come in late fall quarter. So if you follow our Instagram or keep up with our newsletter, you'll have more updates on that. All right, so I'll also introduce who is here to support you at the Transfer Hub. So this is our team. On the left-hand side, you'll see our full-time staff. So Tessa, who you met, is a Transfer Student Success Program Coordinator and is responsible for our big programming events that the Transfer Hub puts on. I'm Elizabeth. I'm the Research and Involvement Coordinator, and then Juanita, who is the Student Success Program Director. On the right, we'll see Mariana, who's our graduate assistant that helps us part-time. And then you might see some vacancies, and they are coming soon. We hope to have assistant director and a transfer retention specialist join our team. Next slide. All right, so this is who you can meet one-on-one with. So I'll start with me. So as Research and Involvement Coordinator, I meet with students one-on-one. So we can meet in person or virtually throughout the academic year. And I'm a resource for transfer students year-round. So starting from fall, even in summer. So a couple of the things that we can talk about during our one-on-one is learning about ways to get involved, all things research at UCSD. If you needed some resume or cover letter support, I'm also that person for you. I also work closely with the Undergraduate Research Hub. I am their liaison, so I'm closely connected with their programs too, and connect you to somebody from their office as well. So yeah, one-on-one support, and those are a couple of the things that we can talk about in our meeting. And so soon we will have our transfer retention specialist. So on the right-hand side, you can meet one-on-one with the transfer retention specialist, and you can talk about adjusting to the quarter system, developing study skills. You can get support getting off of academic notice. And then the transfer retention specialist also supervises Tau Sigma, which is an honor society specifically for transfer students. Yeah, so these are your support system. All right, and I'll pass it over to Tessa for peer coaching.
Awesome. So I would say probably the best resource, no offense to any of our other pro staff or things in our office, is our transfer peer coaches. And this is because these are folks who really get it. All of our transfer peer coaches are current UCSD transfers. Typically it's in their year of graduation that they serve as a peer coach, and they are fantastic. They're trained on UCSD resources. So if they can't get you an answer, they can get you in contact with who has the answer. And we tend to have a warm handoff policy in our office. So we won't be one of the places that will say, oh, you don't know where to go? I don't know the answer either. Sorry, but we will send you an email and connect you with the next office to make sure that whatever your question is, you're getting connected to the office that knows the answers, or we'll follow up in a few days via email with the correct answer. So they're available to meet with you as soon as tomorrow, and they're here virtually and in person throughout the entire academic year. something that folks don't realize is that every transfer student gets assigned to or connects with, and gets connected with a peer coach, whether or not you sign up. So every transfer, both first year and second year and third year and beyond, have a peer coach that will send them weekly emails based off of what's needed at different times of the quarter. You have the option to select which coach you would like to work with. And we were able to just post our newest coaches today. So you're welcome to scan this QR code, but Simon will also send the link in the chat. So right now we have our limited summer peer coaches. So right now we have Cameron, Kai, Kevin, Ray, and Simon, and Stefania, who are available to take virtual and in-person meetings from now through September 16th. Our peer coaching will pause between September 16th and September 22nd, which will be a Monday, and we will reopen for appointments then. This is where you can read all about all of our peer coaches who will be joining our team in the fall. Some of our summer folks will be continuing on. If you click their names, then you get to see a photo, which this one doesn't have a photo, and that's my mistake, and read a little bio about them. For the ones who are available to be booked now, you'll see a schedule appointment button. So this is your way to just get in contact with our peer coaches. If you do send an email to any of our fall coaches, they will not be able to get back to it before September 19th because we are not paying them and it is not their job to work for free. So keep in mind just focusing on our folks on the very top of the page. But to know who you'd like to get your weekly emails from this fall, you can fill that out here once you've read about all of our peer coaches here on the bottom half. And you can come to our peer coaches for a variety of reasons. If you have questions or just want to know how to get started, or maybe what to carry in your backpack the first day, that's something I remember being stressed out about. They're here for that as well. But also if you just feel like you need to talk to somebody, or you have a question and you're not really sure where to get started, that's what they're here for. So please don't hesitate to book an appointment. Some appointments end up being multiple sessions long. They're a little bit, there's so many questions to be had. Some are a 10-minute question, and there's no shame in any of it. If you just feel like you need an answer and you want to see someone, that's what they're here for. So please feel free to connect with them via the QR code. And then today, we know we're getting close to the start of the year, so we are going to end this session with a Q&A panel for our peer coaches. So if there's general questions you have about anything transfer, feel free to start going ahead and putting those in the Q&A box. They can be anonymous, they can be with a name, and we will have our panel of peer coaches who's here go ahead and answer some of those questions. If you don't know what to ask, we have a couple questions written out ahead of time, and we'll go through those and give you a chance to get thinking on what questions you might want to ask for some current transfer students before that gets started. All right, so here are the ways to continue to keep in touch with our office as the STEP program winds down. As I mentioned, we have both our Instagram and TikTok handles, our Triton Transfers. We're available via email. And we also have our website, transferstudents.ucsd.edu, and we're available via phone when our office is physically open. So from 10 to 3, Monday through Thursday. Once classes start and after September 25th, we will be open 9 to 6 during the academic year, and we might have some specialty hours during move-in weekend to provide additional support as well. But with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and open up for Q&A from our folks here. So Simon, you had a list of questions. Do you want to send, I think you might have sent those to me via Teams, but I see a couple of questions here in the chat already. I see someone mentions that they're going to be moving down next weekend and wants to come to campus to get more familiar. Would they be able to take a drop-in to meet with a peer coach? Maybe Cameron, do you want to talk about what drop-ins feel like over the summer, or what that's like when folks come into our space?
Yeah, of course. Drop-ins, we do take drop-ins, and that's on the basis that we don't have any appointments for the day, but there's usually like 2 or 3 of us within the office at any given time, and not all of us will have appointments. So if you do come in for a drop-in, most likely we will be able to take you in for a drop-in, and you won't have to wait too long. But if you do end up waiting, it's probably going to be no more than like 30 minutes. And then even if all the peer coaches are unavailable, then you'll have pro staff to talk to as well.
Yes, and if you you can book a walk-in appointment as well, or you can book an in-person appointment as well, and that way you know that time is saved for you, and if you're early or late, that's no big deal. Awesome. We have another question that is here that says, what's one piece of advice you wish you knew before your first quarter at UCSD? It's a big question. Simon, do you want to take on answering that one first?
Yeah, I think for me, I came into UCSD feeling like I needed to do everything right away. I felt like I had to get a job right away. I had to get involved on campus right away. And it sort of led to me feeling a little of that first quarter burnout of trying to get into AS, trying to get involved in 3 different student orgs, because my whole time I had the mentality of, oh, I only have 2 years, I only have 2 years. And so the advice I would tell myself is that quality over quantity, as much of a cliche it is something that I really needed to follow. And now where I am is I'm involved in 1 student org, but I'm heavily involved with them. I have 1 job on campus, but I'm very involved with my job on campus. And so that's sort of the advice I would give is, don't feel like you need to do everything that first quarter. The way you can math it out is, you might only be a 6th or a 9th of your way through your transfer journey just during that first quarter, and there is still time left. So take it slow. I would say get involved in 1 or 2 things your fall quarter, but don't feel like you need to be Superman or Superwoman that first quarter and do it all.
Hi, Cameron. Do either of you have anything you want to add? Piece of advice that you wish you would have had as a transfer or that you'd give to them before coming in for their first quarter?
For me, it's more like keep in mind to leave flexibility when you plan your classes out for your next few years at UCSD. Because when I planned for my classes, I thought that, oh, I have to follow this fixed specific schedule for me to graduate in 2 years. But just keep in mind that it's okay. Just like there are going to be changes every quarter. Just leave some flexibility for that and meet your academic advisors anytime you need. They're really helpful. Just like drop into one of their appointments or anything like that, and they'll be able to help you out with your class plan and everything like that.
Cameron, any words of wisdom from your side?
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with Simon. Don't feel rushed to do anything. Take all the time you need to get really acclimated to the environment here at UCSD. It can be a bit of a shock, but knowing as transfers, we're all resilient, so we're all going to get that kind of squared away anyways during our first quarter. So don't feel too pressured. And definitely, I agree with Kai's point as well. Definitely make use of your academic advisors, and make sure you're a bit more flexible when it comes to like signing up for classes, because unfortunately, you might not be able to get the class you want, but there's a silver lining. You might be able to get a different class you might need to take anyways. As for my personal advice, it might seem a bit daunting depending if you're taking GE classes or even classes within your major, but don't be afraid to network. Um, Especially in your major classes. Most likely you're going to see familiar faces within those classes. There also might be transfer students as well, and then forming those connections early on, you'll know that you'll have each other's backs in the long run, no matter how long your journey takes.
And if you're feeling stuck of where to go to make a friend, our conference room has tables that sit across from one another. So we have folks who just came in and studied there all day and really built community just by being there. So worst case, come sit at a table, bring your homework. It has a plug and you're welcome to plop down and spend an afternoon here. We have a couple other questions that have come in the chat. For any of our peer coaches, have you ever lived on campus? I don't think we have a group here that has. Mariana, did you live on campus in undergrad? You did. Can you tell us what your move-in process was like? How long do you have to move your stuff? And do you get a cart?
Yes. So I personally lived in Muir College, and then I lived in ERC, in the Living and Learning community. So yes, you do get at least 1 cart. It depends on what college you're in. and then as well as if there's parking accessible near the college. So for Mir has no parking. So they have loading zones where you could stay for 10 to 15 minutes only, where you offload all your stuff, and then you can take the cards, and then they would have to move. For ERC, we have Pangea parking structure right in front, so you would park and then go to their student affairs office, and then kind of like sign in. And then that's how you would get the card. So usually you get information or like a little like ticket where it has all your information, when you're moving, where you're moving, where to find the office, where you're gonna get your key. They also activate your IDs and things like that. Usually, like I said, depending on what college you're in, you have about 10 to 15 minutes if it's a loading zone. If not, then you park and you have whatever time you want.
Thank you. And are there any extra people around? I know like when I went to SDSU, we had like the lacrosse team help to move in. Are there folks there who are helping to lend a hand or extra folks around?
Yes. So for Muir College specifically, we have volunteers. So I was a volunteer for Move In. And they just help you get checked in. They can help you find your room. But they cannot, because of liability issues, they can't help you physically move your stuff. But yes, they can help you navigate on how to get to your room, what office to go to.
Awesome. And then I had accidentally sent links for tutoring, but I was gonna have our peer coaches weigh in as well. Where on campus can folks go for free tutoring, or where have you gone for academic support in general that's been helpful for you? I'll start with Cameron. If you don't know the tutoring centers, I'm just asking for you specifically. Have you gone to office hours? What's worked well?
Oh yeah, definitely visiting your office hours for your professor or even your TAs. I would recommend going to those as often as possible, time willing, because those are going to be a big help for you. Even if you don't have specific questions in general, just sitting in there and having other students come in and asking questions as well, they might pique information in your head like, oh, I didn't think about that question. Now I've thought about it because someone else has asked it. So definitely look into office hours. I would definitely suggest office hours because that's what I make use of the most on campus for academic support.
Hi, or Simon, do you have any other tutoring centers you want to add in, and then I can talk about Oasis or others?
I was gonna agree with Cameron. I think because a lot of our transfer students come in with a lot of lower division requirements fulfilled, it can sometimes be a little more difficult with our teaching and learning commons to find specific content tutoring. So if, let's say in community college or your previous institution, you may have taken a calculus class and your tutoring center had tutors specific to that course. Some of you will still find that your courses do have tutors through our teaching and learning commons. It's a little less frequent though. What I will say is a great resource through our teaching and learning commons is if you're doing writing coursework, their writing tutors are not course specific and are able to help on a range of like written assignments. I've gone in with 20-page research papers. I just went in with my 2-page personal statement for law school. They can help with a wide variety of things there. And so that's the other resource I would point to. But I think, as Cameron said, I think your TAs and professors and those office hours are primarily going to be your best resource because they are class specific and can help you with those detailed and niche questions you may have.
And then I added the links for both. The Oasis has a math and a language arts branch of tutoring. I think they do a really great job with more like the personal statement pieces. They're very identity based. And then they also have additional academic support, and then teaching and learning commons that Simon mentioned, that's in that same linked in that same response to your question as well in the chat. We have a lot of questions in regards to moving in, which makes sense because you're about to just uproot wherever you're living now and move to a new space, and that sounds nerve-wracking. So folks are asking, what should they bring if they are living off campus? Well, let's slow down. We don't have to do them all in one swoop, but What are some of the things that you brought when you moved either into a furnished off-campus apartment besides furniture? What are things that you're bringing for your move?
I can talk sort of on the on-campus side as well. I used to go to the University of Washington and I lived on campus there. And so sort of to answer two in one, some things that I would recommend bringing for both. Especially if you're coming into a furnished place, if you're moving in somewhere where maybe you're moving onto an existing lease, you're not worried about where's the couch, where's the table, anything like that. I would say both in the dorms and off campus, it's helpful to have mini appliances. Some of the big things I had both at the University of Washington and now where I live off campus was a rice cooker. For me, that's an easy thing. It doesn't go over the wattage requirement in most cases. If you're living on campus, double check what that maximum outlet amount is, but most rice cookers that are the small single-use ones don't go over. In both cases as well, I would say, I forget what they're called, the surge projectors that have like the multiple outlets. That's a big one for both. I don't know specifically on campus wise how many outlets each room has. But at the University of Washington, and I presume it'll be the same here, sometimes there's not as many outlets as one wants. And so that's a great way to make sure you have enough things to charge your laptop, your phone, any of those mini appliances or lamps you have. Specifically for off-campus, the big thing I would say is to make sure you're communicating. Don't make sure you're not double dipping with any roommates you might be moving in with. I think that was one of the biggest things I forgot to do when I moved out my first year here at UCSD. And so we had a lot of duplicate things that then we had to sell. And so communicating early is the best thing to do. And that's kind of my biggest recommendation there.
And then, so someone asked the question just of, so your move-in day is the first night you sleep there? The answer is probably, but if your family's coming down with you to move and they have a hotel, that you don't have to sleep there that first night. But you will be able to sleep there once you have that move-in pass. You can sleep there that first night. We also saw a question in the chat that asked, wait, so we're all grad students? Clarification, so our peer coaches in the room are going to be Kai, Cameron, and Simon. Simon had transferred in, having gone to a 4-year and a community college prior. So that was part of his transfer journey. And then myself and Elizabeth are our professional staff. So this is our full-time job to be here. We're done with school. And then Mariana is in a grad program at San Diego State. And part of that is working in student affairs. So she is working with us as she is a grad student. So all our peer coaches are current undergrad students here. And that's why, as I mentioned earlier, I think they're the best resource because they're living what you're having questions about. I see a couple questions in regards from in regards to commuting, which I know is a big stress as well. So Simon and Kai and Cameron, you're all commuter students from off campus. Will you share like your method of commuting, maybe why? And then I'll go ahead. I know Kai had shared the commuter chat and I wanted to share our commuter. Simon, you can share the commuter club if you'd rather share screen. It's up to you.
I'm responding to some questions right now. So
Okay.
if you're able to, that would be great.
Yes. So Cameron, will you talk about how you get to campus as a commuter student?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a San Diego native, so I live a bit farther from UCSD. I don't live anywhere close to campus. My commute typically is usually in the morning it can range from 20 minutes to 45 minutes, and then coming home during rush hour, that's upwards of 30 minutes. But that's just the area I live in and the route I have to take because I have to take the 56 west to the 5 south to get to UCSD. I don't park on campus as much as I used to. Student parking can be a bit hectic, especially during this first quarter because a lot of people are going to be fighting for those limited amount of spaces. So my recommendation to you is if you're going to try and find parking for a class on campus, you should come as early as possible, maybe like 7 a.m., even if your class is at 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. It's kind of a sad reality, but you're going to be fighting almost everyone else that commutes to campus. So a workaround for that is you can park at some of the MTS parking lots. They're directly linked to the trolley stations or even the bus stations. There's one close at the UTC Mall, and there's some other ones depending where you're coming from, either north, south, east, or west to campus. And then as well, also personally, I park at a friend's place. That's why I said network. You're gonna meet people who live close to campus who don't have cars of their own because they just take the bus or trolley. So make friends that live close to campus, and then you can probably take their parking spots if they don't have their own. But definitely make use of the Pronto Pass, take the bus as often as you can, and take the trolley as often as you can.
Yeah, that's it.
How about you, Kai?
Oh, I was gonna say what Cameron mentioned is something I hear often from students is that they'll drive to one of the nearby trolley stops and come from there. So that's something that students do quite a bit. And it's a pretty good practice because the trolley leaves you right on campus, right at the end of our walkway. And then Kai, yes, how do you get to campus each day?
I take the bus. I feel like this is something that people should keep in mind, probably during like your first week or like first few weeks on campus. Probably around 9 a.m. the 201 or 202 bus is going to be full because people want to get to classes. So if you have like a 9 a.m. class, probably plan to reach campus 15 minutes before your class starts, just in case if you aren't able to get on one of the full buses. I'm speaking from personal experience, it's more like the 201 and 202 buses. So I'm not really sure what the other buses would be like.
And then feel free to share, Simon. I'm just gonna go ahead and open up my screen and start sharing my screen a bit for some clarification. We're seeing a lot of questions on commute.
I was gonna touch on the UPass if that's fine with you.
Perfect.
So I've seen a few questions. How do I get to campus for free? Is the trolley free? So kind of Tessa and I guess in tandem are gonna try to knock this out. The UPass is paid currently through your tuition. The UPass is through Pronto. It covers all MTS, which is our city metro system, as well as our North County Transportation District, which is the 101 bus. This will become available to you all through the Pronto app on September 23rd, 2024. That's when you'll be able to sign up for your Pronto Pass. Again, your payment for it goes through tuition currently. And you'll see here transportation has a full page explaining how to set that up. You basically will log in and set up a Pronto account with your UCSD student email. And from there, you will add the UPass to your cart. This is last year's, I think, last week when we met with transportation, they told us September 23rd is the date that this will become available to you all. Again, this will work on all 3 trolleys that run through San Diego. The one that comes to UCSD is the Blue Line trolley. So this will cover your fare for the Blue Line trolley. It will also cover for all of the MTS routes. And there are about 5 or 6 that come to campus. As Kai was mentioning, if you're living in the UTC area, that's likely the 201, 202, 30, or 41 bus. If you have questions or run into difficulty setting this up, there's a video we did last year that kind of shows a side-by-side how to set it up. That will definitely be promoted all over our social media on the 23rd when this becomes available, as well as our peer coaches. This is, again, something you could work with us on in an appointment, especially 3 of us that live off campus are familiar with the Pronto app. We'd be happy to sit down and work through that interface with you because it can be confusing doing it for the first time. I know for me last year, I had to have somebody help me set it up. But yes, the trolley will be free for you once you have this Pronto Pass set up. Well, once you have this UPass set up, which is done through the Pronto app.
And if you already made an account with your student email, you did not make a mistake, you'll just see that option for it will almost be like a promo code gets added to your account on the 23rd, because everyone who, like our current students don't have access to Pronto if they're not taking summer classes, and then it will re-up in fall. So that will reappear for folks as well. So you have not done anything wrong. You'll see that come up later. Just picture it being like a coupon that starts that day. And this is also a good way to check out the public transit maps. I will say UCSD's transportation site is pretty helpful. So Mariana and I have sent the commute links in the chat there. And Simon, you have a car down in San Diego, but you still take the bus. I was gonna say you didn't share your commuting experience, and that's helpful to hear, but maybe do you want to share why? And sorry to just out you and your.
Yeah, no. For me, similar to what Cameron was saying, it is extremely difficult to find student parking on campus during the day. For me, I only drive my car to campus on weekends or in the evenings. And I guess my little tip here is UCSD parking changes at 5 p.m. From basically 7 a.m. or I think it's 6 a.m. From 6 a.m. through 5 p.m., students can only park in student spots. And that's a very limited amount. That's why Cameron and I try not to take our cars to campus. And if we do, we come extremely early. What happens at 5 p.m., and sometimes I'll be here maybe for a late midterm or my student org will meet late at night, is that the permits will allow you to park in any permit spot. So instead of just being limited to student spots, you can park in A spots, which is usually faculty. You can park in B spots, which is usually our grad students or some of our administrative staff. And so that's the rare case where I will bring my car onto campus. It does not mean you don't have to pay. You'll still pay that student permit for the day. The only difference will be that you won't be ticketed for parking in an A or a B spot. You'll be able to park in those no problem. But otherwise, as Cameron was saying, it's extremely difficult to find parking. Most students that I know will either park along the 201 or 202 bus route or along the Blue Line trolley and then take the trolley or the bus from there. Tessa, I was wondering, I know we had some student org questions. I didn't know if you're fine with me answering some of those.
Student work. I hadn't seen those pop up, but yes, if there's one that you saw, there's a couple questions. Maybe let's round out housing because we do have
Awesome.
a couple more. I see folks who mentioned, ooh, actually, Simon, this is kind of a question for you. If people fly home, how do they get a free commute to the airport? Spoiler alert. I will also say that as a staff member, sometimes I plan my flight home to finish while I'm at work and then take the free transportation from UCSD to the airport because it's more smooth. But Simon, I'm shouting him out because he made a video last year. Do you want to touch on the flyer?
Yeah. So yeah, as Tessa mentioned, this past year, I did a collaborative video with our transportation department. UCSD, well, it's not even UCSD specific. The city of San Diego has a bus that runs from one of the trolley stations directly to the airport. So what that would mean is through your Pronto Pass, you would be able to take our Blue Line trolley from the UCSD stop down to the Old Town Transit Center, which is one of the major stops in San Diego. From there, there is the bus, the Flyer, which is a free bus for anybody to take, that takes you to the airport, both Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. The same way you get off that bus when you go to the airport is the same way you'll get back on when you return, either from a break or from, I guess, a vacation if you take one during the quarter. That will be able to take you back to the Old Town Transit Center, which will then take you back to UCSD. That video is somewhere on our social media page, and usually around breaks in the beginning of the quarter, that will again be reposted to our story. So if you haven't already, our Instagrams are a great place to get current information again. But that's where that video lives. Again, it's basically trolley and then the Flyer bus, and that will be free for you once your UPass goes through.
And even like this, I just came back from a vacation this weekend and it was $45 to take a lift to my house. And it was $14 to take a lift to my house from Old Town. So if you're coming in and you're having to pay for a lift to get to UCSD, I always take the Flyer and then get a lift for much cheaper because it's so much cheaper. And it's like a 10-minute ride. So it's a great resource. Simon, you were mentioning, let's see, there was one more question was someone said, so living on campus during winter break, is it safe to leave everything? We do have staff from HDH who continue to live on campus during those breaks. So I might, if you have a special family relic or something that's more expensive, I might recommend bringing that home because your roommates might have folks in and out as well. But I wouldn't plan to move everything else home, but maybe take your favoriteest things home with you for that break would be my recommendation. Simon, you had mentioned some student worker ones.
Yeah, I saw some people ask when student orgs are going to start doing registration and where to find them week 0. So just to quickly touch, a lot of our student organizations, both Greek Life as well as pre-professional or social organizations, will table on Library Walk, which is the big brick, I think it's brick or cement pathway that runs in front of Geisel Library. That will be filled with student organizations pretty much the first 2 weeks of school. And so that's one place that you can go to see what some of those student orgs are, see if there's anything that might interest you that you might want to get involved with on campus and get to actually meet some of the members. The other thing I was going to point out is there is a list of all student organizations. I just sent that link. It's not completely full right now because registration for student organizations just started. So not all of them have filled out that necessary information, but I would recommend hopping back to last year. So looking at what the student orgs were for 2023 to 2024, that's likely going to be what the student orgs for this year are going to be as well. Make a list of some organizations that might interest you. And that would mean once you're on Library Walk, you know who to look for. You can say, okay, I really want to join the Kendama Club. I saw them on the student org page. Where can I find them? Here's where they're tabling. I can go talk to them. Recruitment for student orgs. I saw one other question about that. That varies organization to organization. Some organizations have an open door policy. You come and go as you want. Some of our more competitive organizations, like myself, I'm on our mock trial team. We do our tryouts week 2 of fall quarter, and then we're pretty much closed door for the rest of the year. And so really making sure you know what some of those student orgs you want to be involved with before the quarter starts, I would say is a good thing to do, just so you don't miss those windows. Again, a lot of them will have open door policies where you're welcome to join throughout the year. But especially if you're looking at something competitive, I would definitely look and see when those tryouts are.
Let's see. So Cameron, I see that you're also a part of an organization on campus. Do you want to share what your process was and like how you picked to join that and how you found it?
Yeah, I was actually a bit lucky. My major is a bit smaller compared to the other majors on campus, developmental science major. So they did a meet and greet in September, like the week before the start of classes. So I got to go over there. They gave us lunch and a bunch of like stuff to do and meet like all the faculty within that major, like all my counselors. I met all my, or not counselors. I met all my advisors. I met future professors, current professors that I will be taking in the fall quarter. And funnily enough, I got sat next to the president of that club. And so we kind of really hit it off. And from there, she kind of just told me about the club. And then from there, I just joined it. So I just got really lucky. Um, if I hadn't gone to that meet and greet or even sat next to her, I don't think I would have found that club because it's such a niche kind of thing because it's based on such a major and that major is already small enough.
Someone here asked, what are the best ways to find jobs for work study? And I saw there that Simon had mentioned the handshake post as well. But on October 10th, there will be an entire work study fair. So all offices on campus that offer work study will be hosting a fair within the Career Center. The Career Center will send out emails to everybody closer to that time, but that would be a great opportunity as well. A lot of offices hire during the summer, so it might be a good chance to check that out now. But that is a great spot. I guess for the 3 of you, you all work on campus. How did you find out about the peer coach role? Hi, I'll ask you first. How did you find out about the peer coach position?
I think it was on Instagram because I follow the Try and Transfer Hub Instagram account, and then I kind of saw that, oh, you guys are hiring. And then I went on Handshake to find more information about it, and I also got to attend one of like the information type of event to talk about what the job is about. And I just went on Handshake and then applied for the job. Yes, that was pretty much it.
And because you were one of the 2 or 3 people who came and showed interest at that event too, that always shows, that's a positive as well. So if there's info sessions, you're putting yourself in the right places. Cameron, do you want to share how you found out about the role?
Yeah. I was working HR in a corporate position previously before this job, and I really wanted out. So I was trying to find a job on campus. So I scrolled through Handshake, like Simon had sent that link. I was scrolling through Handshake just trying to find something to get me out of that position. And when I stumbled across Pure Coach, I was like, oh, this sounds kind of interesting because it sounds like HR work. And then when I read it some more, I was like, oh, it's more for transfer students. I'm a transfer student. I'll apply to that. And the rest is history. I got the interview, and here I am.
And Simon, how did you find out about the student assistant position that you had in coming into UCSD?
Yes. So I sort of in all of your shoes started working here my first year as a transfer. So I was applying to on-campus jobs over the summer, and similarly to what Tessa said, a lot of those on-campus jobs are on Handshake right now. A lot of them want people that can start in the fall and work the whole academic year. So now is a good time to start looking if an on-campus job is something you're thinking about. But yeah, that was sort of the case for me. As I was on Handshake. I had filtered just for on-campus jobs. And this was a job that really interested me. Getting to work with the transfer center was something I've always wanted to do. So I was really excited that this was an opportunity and that I was able to get a position here. But yeah, I would say Handshake is the best place to look. Some departments will post it on social media, but if you want that full list, Handshake is your best bet.
We did have a question related to work study. This one had been asked specifically if it's available for international students. I'm not sure if it's available or not for international students specifically, but work study is a way of students using their financial need that they have identified through FAFSA. Well, actually, that answers the question. Our international students don't go through FAFSA. So what it is students who don't have the opportunity to who don't want to take out loans can use work study instead. But what I do want to say is that a lot of folks think that if they don't have work study, they're not going to get an on-campus job, and that's not true. So our office has hired multiple international students each year. We always want to make sure that we have at least one international student who our international students can come and ask more niche questions to. Kai is one of them this year. And then not all of our staff is work study. That's just one of the student staff fairs that is going on this year. So that's not your key to getting a job on campus. It's just one way. So don't let that feel limiting to you. It looks like, oh, we're past time. Oh, we just kept going with those questions. I was thinking we were ending early today, but I don't see any more questions in the chat. If things come up, feel free to email us at tritontransfers@ucsd.edu. We're here to continue answering your questions. You can also book appointments with any of our students or just walk in our door a day that you're here on campus. I am still sharing my screen. That's but now we look forward to seeing you all in fall. You've been participating in STEP, so you'll be getting an invitation for STEP Welcome Day on the 26th. And if you're participating in R&I, Elizabeth will see you tomorrow. Oh, I saw a couple more come in. I will go ahead and take care of these, but we'll wrap up the session and we'll answer these in the answer. So yes, this is our last Transfers Connect session, our Transfer Talks session. So our last Wednesday session, we still have Connect. Next week on the 6th is in person. Next week on the 8th is virtual. And then, perfect.
Wait, just to clarify, the 4th is our in-person, the 6th is our virtual. I don't know if I heard the 8th.
Yes, you are correct. And then for the student who's asking about the health fee waiver, that's a question I'm not sure the answer to. I would reach out to via the Ask a Nurse feature on the UCSD My Chart. Let me get you the link for that. To see how to get that established. And that looks like. Okay, we have a couple more questions that came in. We can keep, if folks have answers, I'm just typing the link for this. Someone is asking about TRIP. Do you all feel like you have answers for that, or do you want me to take that?
I can kind of talk a little about it. So I'm enrolled in the trip thing. It just depends on whether you prefer paying your tuition bills quarterly or monthly. My parents prefer to pay it monthly, so I enrolled in it, and you just have to pay it. There's a date for it. I think it's around every
First of each month?
like the middle of the month. I'm not sure. It's a different date for each month. So you would have to check for that, but it just mainly just depends on whether you prefer to pay quarterly or monthly.
And that would be strictly for tuition separate from your housing costs, but that's breaking up your tuition into monthly costs.
Yeah, I just sent that link in chat. The details are there. It tells you when each monthly payment would be due and when your deadline to enroll is. So I would check that out.
Yes, and then that person clarified, so if that TRIP makes it a monthly payment, but if you're not doing a monthly payment, September 20th is when your big payment is due, and you are correct in that. We did a session with Pachia, who runs the student payment account office, and she's fantastic. So we have a recording on our recaps page that was posted in our responses, and she goes over the different cost of the different ways of paying and does a really great overview. So if there's still questions there, I would say that's a great recording to tap into. Thanks for doing that. Perfect. I don't see any new questions coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and close us out. Thanks for joining us for our transfer talks this summer. We will see you in person for our STEP Welcome Day, or we will see you next week for Transfers Connect. See everybody.